Hi there, and welcome to episode 50 of Career Stories Live. So just 1 second, we seem to have lost connection to LinkedIn. So at the moment, we are going live on YouTube. For some reason, it's not allowing me to go live on LinkedIn right now. So hopefully that will pick up as we go through. Okay, so anyway, sorry about that, and welcome to Anne Vigouroux. So we are here today on episode 50. So welcome to anyone who is watching on YouTube, and hopefully like LinkedIn will catch up a bit later. So welcome, Anne, and thank you for joining me today. We were just chatting. We think it's been 5 or 6 years since we first worked together, which was great. If anyone is watching, please do comment to let us know that you're here and where you're watching from. Ask any questions in the chat, etc. And the basis for the lives is really that I've always been very interested in what people do and why they do it, learning about different role types and career paths. And the aim is to inspire people on where they can source information in different roles and sectors. So I will hand over to you, Anne. Could you give us a brief intro into you and what it is you're doing work-wise right now?
Thank you, Sarah. I'm delighted to be here. My role is to bring vavavooom into marketing and business development. You know, I've been passionate about marketing, and I will tell you about it before. But my role is to make marketing a real partner of the business. Currently at Charles Taylor, a company that I absolutely love. I'm changing the way people see marketing from brochure making to being a complete strategic partner of their business growth, and is working hand in hand with sales, and that's called smarketing, sales and marketing.
Excellent.
That really brings a buzz in my steps every day. Not that I need a buzz because I'm naturally quite energetic, but there.
There you go. And I know in your headline you say about bringing vavavooom into whatever you do, don't you?
Yeah, it's so important. The energy is something that you share with people. You know, you need to bring the connection, and it's only when you can connect with the salespeople as a marketeer that you win your seat at the table. So they don't see you as someone who's just executing what they want, but someone who helps them think about what is the best way to penetrate this market, what is the best way to engage with the customers, you know, what is the best way to create something that is a little bit buzzy and different.
Yes.
And the event we organized this morning was a perfect example of that, and I can cover that later on in the chat.
Excellent. That's really great. So would you mind just giving us a bit of information about early careers? So did you have a job whilst you were at school or college? And if so, do you think that has helped you in any way?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I was doing the admission of the new cohort in the business school I studied. So that was all the way until yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was explaining that when you have an employer, what you want to see is work experience. That's the key thing that people want to see. You know, what have you done? What have you delivered? And as part of my business school, not only I was working in the junior enterprise, but I also did a 1 year sandwich year, working for a year in a fashion company called Cacharel. And that plus, you know, they offered me a double diploma, which I took, and that was an MBA, and that enabled my level of English to increase and as well to have a British diploma. So working has always been there. I was doing training course. Once I did for a biscuit company, and that was dreadful, Sarah, because I put on 5 kilos over the 3 months because I had to sell these biscuits. It was for Danone, and of course I was eating them because sometimes they give you samples and then you have to do things, and I was ballooning, you know. So I was glad the stuff was over because that was going out of control in my usual way. So all the training course, all the alternance opportunities I was taking, which means that when I enter the you have some people that say on LinkedIn that is not starting. So I think we are
I've just put a post here to say to go to YouTube. So I've put a link to the YouTube page. So hopefully people will pick that up. It's very frustrating. It's not allowing me to stream to LinkedIn for some bizarre reason.
Yeah. YouTube. Yeah, so all these opportunities I took. And the reason, Sarah, the real reason you want to know is that I had a boyfriend when I was preparing for the business school, and he got a better business school than I, and I was determined to actually catch him up because I'm very competitive. So I took absolutely every single opportunity. And then I joined the graduate program of the Barclays. And that was fantastic. I spent 8 years, with Barclays. I'm a serial monogamist when it comes to work. And 8 years with Barclays, 8 wonderful years with JP Morgan Private Bank. JP Morgan was like the boyfriend I should have married.
Oh, really?
And never married. But I should have married. It's still not too late. And then 8 great years at AXA. And then I was lucky enough to follow my boss, who moved from AXA to Charles Taylor, and quite a few people from the COMEX, and join Charles Taylor and be surrounded by a wonderful team where we work really hard, but there is a good spirit and we do wonderful things together.
Yeah. Oh, that's really lovely. So I guess going back to your biscuit story, control came in very early on, then, didn't it? And maybe knowing how to manage what you take on and what you don't take on and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. For me, it's about visualization of what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And the planning behind it. And that's something that I do both in my personal and professional life. The planning for me is essential to avoid stress, last minute requests, feeling under the cosh. It's always control the things you can control and plan for the things you can't. And that's very important. I am lucky enough, I'm so fortunate that I love my job. I could work 24/7 because I'm surrounded by very smart people here at Charles Taylor, but also because I love marketing and the philosophy of it. So I plan all the time. I brush my teeth. I think about something. I go swimming every morning at 6:30, and I call that my focus time. And that time is blocked in my diary all the way until 10 to give me a good buffer. And when I'm in the swimming pool, it's like, the pensive things of Dumbledore in Harry Potter. In the swimming pool, I plan for all the things that can happen, events coming up, difficult stakeholders to deal with, and that helps me control a lot more, and also control my own mood and energy. Because believe me, if I don't go swimming, you don't even want to talk to me. It's just awful.
Yeah, I'm the same with running. If I've not been for a run, then I can't get my day started. I use that, like you, to do my planning, my thinking. If I've got something difficult to deal with, that's what helps me to do that. So I don't know how I would cope without getting that run in every day.
No, I can't. So I've invested in a collection of T-shirts that I've got messages on it. One of them is from Taylor Swift, and it says a lot in red going on at the moment. Another, and that's when really, you should only speak to me if it is really urgent. When I have the T-shirt Cocorico or Paris Mon Amour, it means that everything is fine. And I've got also a T-shirt that says merde, and that is please don't speak to me at all. I'm not This is sending subliminal messages around the office about.
Yes. Yeah. So are you going to see Taylor Swift, or have you seen Taylor Swift?
I am with my daughters on the 19th of August, and obviously who is going? Are you?
Yes.
It's phenomenal. So if you were. So if you wear your silver Doc Martens, I will wear my glittery Converse. We'll be like a pair.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We're taking my sons. I mean, they're adults. They're 22 and 18, but we always buy them concert tickets for Christmas. So that was this year's tickets.
Yeah, we too. I mean, no, it was not Christmas, but it was like Mission Impossible to get these tickets, but we managed in the end.
Exactly.
And now I'm listening to all the songs because I've been told, Mama, you're about 2 albums behind in terms of the lyrics, but English is not my first language. So when she sings, I cannot understand the subtlety of everything.
Yes.
But there we are.
Well, there
So
you go.
I'm a complete Swiftie.
Excellent. Okay, so we've sort of started touching on this, but did you go to university and what helped your decision around that?
Absolutely. I went through university because studying and academical stamps are the best investments you could do for yourself.
Right.
My daughter is 19 and I said to her, get yourself a brand, get yourself an education. This is so important to have this branded validation of your ability to study, learn, be disciplined.
Yeah.
And that was this belief in that I didn't take any gap year. I worked throughout every single holidays to get the work experience. For me, as I say, I had a friend who managed to get a better business school, so business school was the equivalent of the university. And throughout my life, I've tried to be just as good as him. He's now global head of aviation at Bank of China, Arnaud.
Wow.
But I'm global head of marketing at Charles Taylor, so the race is still on.
Excellent. Oh, that's really cool. So you've talked a bit about how you started your professional career, but can you remember how you found that first role after you finished university?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of personal background, when I was at university, when I did my MBA, I fell madly in love with a Greek guy. And I missed the time for the graduate program. I didn't know how it worked in the UK. So I started as a consultant, marketing consultant in a very, very small consultancy. And by the way, the Alexis, the Greek guy, didn't find a job in the UK. So suddenly I found myself alone in the UK and had the choice between going back to France, which my parents wanted, or staying in the UK. And again, moved by a drive and a sense of pushing myself, I said, no, I'm going to stay in the UK where the work environment is so much more inspiring. So as Alexi left and I was left on my own feeling suicidal, I applied to, everything in me is terribly dramatic, terribly underground. I applied to the graduate program of the Barclays, and I was accepted. And the graduate program was great because it gives you like a vision of every part of the bank, and working in financial services is a magnificent choice. It's a friend of my MBA who actually once said, you should try financial services and marketing. And I looked at her feeling like, what? No, I want fast-moving consumption good, brings me L'Oreal, Mars, Unilever. But you know what? I think in financial services is the most exciting, rich, smart way of learning, seeing the world, understanding the economy, being surrounded by really smart people. And in terms of starting my professional career, it can be very daunting. And I remember, like if it was yesterday, going to this assessment center of the Barclays, and it was near Marble Arch. And all the other young people I felt were so much better than I was. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing here. They are so much better. They have diploma of engineer. They've done better universities. They've done all of that. And, and he said to me, darling, be a big girl, go and fight. And then you put the phone down. And I was left with that and feeling like, oh, wow, okay. So I go and I fight. And that was successful. So that was really fun.
Very good. So carry on.
And then at Barclays, I met my husband, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, my next question was what was it that attracted you to financial services? But you've kind of covered that already. But it sounds like you had a bit of imposter syndrome up front, but
we all have, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
no one is going to say, oh, yeah, I nailed it all the time. You know, but what helped me with imposter syndrome is that when I was at the Barclays, I went into the Barclays Amateur Dramatic Society, and that changed everything. Because the office is a big theater. We pretend to be people. We wear costume, you know. And when the one thing in financial services is that less now, but it's very male dominated. It's very male dominated, and therefore sometimes you feel very little. But if you are little in the fake it until you make it, which is also in the Taylor Swift songs.
Yes.
I mean, I can do it with a broken heart. In the fake it till you make it, you have to find the courage. And amateur dramatics really helped me feel more confident, more assertive in the way I express things. I knew my stuff, but it's about fighting this little voice that is telling you you're crap and you're ugly and you're fat and you're just not going to make it anywhere. And it's just like, shh, not now, you know.
Yeah.
And having done a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy, that is something that I still work on. You know, when the doubt is crippling you, when you feel absolutely rubbish, you know, you go. And financial services, through that, I've managed to get my career. I will not go anywhere else. I love it. And I'm surrounded by people who inspire me. I can understand the world, the economy, and I could work in B2B like I could work in B2C. And it's becoming, you know, the amount of data you have on your clients in financial services, whether they are banks or insurance, is immense. And you can do so much more tailored things. You can understand your clients so much better by looking at, you know, the data, their interactions. So it is fantastic. And especially in B2B, you're dealing with the largest company.
Yeah.
And, you know, and financial services in B2B is like dating the star of the American football team. You cannot put the foot wrong. You have to understand, you know, what makes these people tick, how you're going to feed their mind, how you're going to astonish them through the events you do, how you're going to have all these multiple touch points on economy, but on personal investing as well, is phenomenal.
Yeah. That is amazing. And I know when we first met, you were looking for a head of marketing role, and obviously now you've got that. So would you say your career has progressed how you expected? Are you where you thought you would be by now?
Yeah, but there were lots of up and downs, you know. There were moments where you feel you're going nowhere. There are moments of injustice, and that happened a couple of times, you know, in my career, where because you're not with the right manager, it hurts you, and it's really frustrating. It's something like you feel like, God, why, you know, and it's not fair. But life is not fair. And it's about, I'm going to quote Taylor Swift again.
Who knew she'd get so much airtime?
How do you bounce back like you trampoline? And that's the thing, you know. Yes, it's not fair. What do you do? You kind of feel, you sulk? Do you keep this anger, or you actually remain true to yourself and say, I am valid, I am good enough, I can do things, I am absolutely capable of bouncing back and showing my worth. So Yes, it has now progressed to
Yeah.
where I want to be.
Mm.
But it came through sheer visualization. And I will tell you one thing. At some point, I had a low.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine invited me to Roland Garros. And I like tennis, but I'm not a big fan. And I arrived there, feeling really low energy and full of doubts. And on the pitch, I saw players who were fighting for every single ball. And the ball
Mm.
was going there. And in my mind, I would say, oh, it's too far away. I'm going to run. I'm going
Yeah.
to miss it or hit it badly. I'm not bothering. But they were running and they were trying and they were fighting for every ball. And I came out of that and I said to my friends, you've changed my mindset beyond what you thought
Mm.
you would achieve by inviting me here. I came out of Roland Garros and I wrote a very clear vision of the company I wanted to work for. And I called a friend saying, I know exactly. And I said, I want to work for an international company with strong growth ambition and with people who are willing to wet the shirt as much as I am. And that vision clearly drove what I was looking for. And that coupled with the sheer fortitude, resistance, discipline of the Roland Garros player really helped me. And then obviously, me, Sarah, it's not a plain sailing. And so I was
Mm.
still going there feeling like I'll never find it, no one
Yeah.
will want me. And I drew tarot cards and I drew my a certain set, and that was a card of the shark. And the shark is the only mammal that sinks if it doesn't move. And for me, that was okay. I need to reach out to my first level of network, and that's where I contacted you because I said I want to position what I want to do, but without looking like I'm begging. And you
Yeah.
really helped me, and I'm very grateful for that because
Oh,
I
I'm glad.
fired
Yeah.
these messages to my first line of network. And that coincides perfectly for when Charles Taylor were recruiting. So sometimes it's about visualizing, persisting, um, and manifesting
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah.
And there is nothing magical in manifesting. It's just that you gear your energy somewhere else,
Yeah.
in the right position.
That's amazing. And the fact that you can get that kind of inspiration from a day out watching tennis is incredible, isn't it? I think if you're in that mindset where you can see how those lessons can be translated into business, it's really helpful.
It was mind changing,
Yeah.
that was there you are kind of navel gazing, looking at job offer, because what was happening, and that's interesting, when I was looking for this job, I was still with AXA, and AXA is a fantastic, beautiful company with lots of parts to work for. You could work there all your life, and some people have. But there was a restructure, and the job where they would have put me was making no sense in the career story. To go back to
Yeah.
that, in the
Yeah.
career story I wanted to tell, it
Yeah.
would have been like, I don't know, like a sidetrack that made absolutely no sense. And I'm not young, I'm 48. So at the time I was about 46, and it's like, if I start in there for at 46, yes, it's comfortable and I love AXA, but what am I going to tell next? Because people will
Mm.
say, why did you do that? And so I had to be really true to myself and say, no, I need something that makes sense. I need to put the story back on the track and
Yeah.
make it happy ending. It's
No.
not the end. It's not the end.
No,
I,
and
I
it's
would love
interesting,
more
isn't
to
it?
offer.
Yeah, as I'm 51 now, and I've had lots of conversations with friends who are talking about winding down, and I'm thinking, actually, I feel like I'm going up. I don't feel like it's time to wind down yet. I feel like it's time to power up. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting.
correct, because the children have gone, and it's such a relief. So to anyone young listening, think twice before getting married or having children. It's a trap. It's a trap. I'm a woman, I'm a mother, and I can say it. It's a trap. It's a societal trap. It's part of the rules, what we call the bullshit rules, and that's from Vishen Lakhiani. So that's what it is.
Interesting, definitely. So you do some work with students as well. So can you talk a bit about that? What it is you do there? So it's a Montpellier, isn't it?
Montpellier and King's College, I mentor marketing students.
Mm.
And I love it because I feel the pressure that these young students have to find their first job and what will make them competitive, but also, remaining confident. So there is a point about the strategic marketing of yourself. When you are in marketing, you market lots of products, but you're
Yeah.
probably really bad at marketing yourself. And the essence in marketing is always about how are you different and better. And I quote it all the time. So it's about, when you are a student and to say, what makes you different and better? What are the working experiences you've had, or what are the industries in which you've worked? What have been the experiences that have highlighted things you're very good at? Take that. And then where is your target market? Where will you have a competitive advantage? I give you a very specific example. At the moment, I mentor students of Latin American origin, families from Mexico, and she worked in the pharmaceutical industry as, as part of her alternance thing. And she said, well, now that's it. I've finished the diploma. Where do I go? So I say, Andrea, what makes you different and better? I said, you've worked in digital marketing. You worked in a very regulated environment, that is pharmaceuticals. You have family in Spain, family in Mexico. You're fluent in Spanish and you understand the culture. In that case, narrow down to highly regulated industry. Obviously, I was selling financial services.
Yeah.
Or pharmaceuticals for companies who have got either, subsidiaries in Latin America or are based in Latin America with subsidiaries in France or in Europe. And this is where you're going to shine. And then it's about keeping the motto and telling them, you are good enough. You're worthy of finding a job. You're absolutely deserving of having a beautiful career. All of that.
No, that
I saw
makes
a question,
sense.
but I couldn't read it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I flicked on it by accident too quickly, but it leads into that. So any advice that you would give students who are about to leave school, college, or university and looking for their first role? So it touches on what you've just said. But
yeah, it's about the work experience first, is about the strategic view of yourself, what makes you different and better. And ultimately, it's about your passion. And the passion needs to come through, because you will have lots of people. But the moment you state, and that's what I advise to my daughter, it works with them, everything, it's, you start always by, I'm so happy to be here because my dream has always been to work in, or to change things into that industry. And therefore working for you is exactly what I've been dreaming of. You always start with your purpose.
yeah.
And then you go down into, the things that you have done to feed that purpose. And then you end up with, whatever, the nitty-gritty factual. You have to connect with the people. You don't connect with the people with the things you've done. You connect because you sorry, I'm going to swear, but it's fine. You bloody want to be there. You belong there. This is for you. And no one is going to have this position because this is what you've worked for and elevated yourself throughout your life. I will quote Simon Sinek and the Golden Circle, and I will encourage everyone to go on YouTube and look at the Golden Circle. It lasts 5 minutes. But Sinek explains that if people were selling computers, they will say, I do really strong computers and they have like a Pentium i5 and therefore they are going faster and they are, would you like to buy one? And that's kind of, okay. But when you look at the way Apple designed and marketed their computer and their solution is, we want to change the status quo. We believe in people being completely mobile and hyper connected. And this is why, we've built, together as a team, devices that enable the creativity to flow. And by the way, they have, obviously all the normal things of Pentium 5, whatsoever. Would you like to buy one? And the energy is completely different. The purpose is there. So I will say always start with the purpose. I'm here because I want to be there. I deserve to be here. That's my dream.
Yeah, that's really
good. Move away, everyone. Move away. You don't have a dream. Move
Get out of the way. Get out of my way, definitely. Okay. And you mentioned just briefly then about you've just qualified as a hypnotherapist. So how did that come about? How did you decide to do that?
Because when I was little, and I may have mentioned to you, but marketing has been a passion throughout my life. When I was 8, I was reading about marketing and the way you influence people subliminally. So that influenced me in everything that has got to do with the brain. And it only took until 2 years ago where all the planets were aligned, the kids were old enough, my job was stable enough, and I'd put enough aside to take on a professional diploma in clinical hypnotherapy. Because we don't use our mind enough. The mind is incredibly powerful. The mind believes what you tell it. If you tell it, I'm going to be successful, you're going to be successful. If you're telling your mind, I am totally capable to do this job, you're going to be, or you're going to portray it. Opposite way, if you think negatively, you actually program your mind to help you achieve what you want to do. And ultimately, this is a transition I want to do. I want to focus on C-suite execs and high potential individuals who, under the sheer pressure of their job, are often having a very imbalanced lifestyle. They drink too much, they smoke too much, they self-harm, they take drugs. Their family is suffering. And I want to have a B2B model where the companies are actually paying for their workforce to have hypnosis session, to help them with all the imbalance, but also being able to do public speaking without feeling stressed, fighting the imposter syndrome, being able to manage people in a more, in a cooler, more inclusive way. So that's my big vision. I see it every morning when I meditate. I look like very airy-fairy, but believe me, I'm very, I'm down to earth. But it's very important. And also the real reason, and he knows that, is because in order to increase my salary or multiply it by 10, I had to hypnotize my boss into putting a 0 at the end of my final salary. And I say every day, John, you love the round shape of the 0. You absolutely love it. You sit, you feel compelled to add it on this Excel line next to my salary and bonus at the end. Yes, John, you love it. You want to. It's going to make me happy,
That's absolute genius. Yeah. It really is. Well, thank you very much. We are about out of time now. So I'm sorry for anyone who's tried to watch on LinkedIn and it hasn't worked. It has been on YouTube. So I will upload it to LinkedIn again later. So it won't be live, but it will be there for people to watch later on if they can. So thank you so much for joining me, Anne. It's been really great chatting to you again, and hearing your stories is really wonderful. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, you're most welcome. It's a pleasure. And anyone who is interested can absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn anytime.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So next week, I'm back, same time, with Esther Patrick, who is director at Keystone Training. So I'm looking forward to chatting to her as well. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you. Thanks.